right. Hello, and welcome back to another week of volatility. Hopefully, coming back into the markets if you like a little bit of action. Anyway, welcome everyone. Today we're talking stocks, we're talking commodities, and of course, we're talking cryptos. I hope that everybody that celebrates Thanksgiving had a great time with their family and friends, and you enjoyed your turkeys and whatever else you ate. Let me know in the chat, actually, what was your favorite meal on Thanksgiving? I'm interested. I would guess mine would be probably the turkey, but it could be something else. I don't know. Let me know what you enjoyed most in terms of the food and what you enjoy every year about it. Anyway, we're also here to talk stocks. So let's get into the beginning discussion. I want to talk a little bit of macro with you guys because, yeah, we're seeing some really interesting stuff going on in volatility. Obviously, this year being the real breakout star of zero DTEs. And then on top of that, also the rise of the retail options trader, and then on top of that, VIX not really getting above 20 more than once. So yeah, that's what we find ourselves. But we are back in VIX crush zone. You can see here on this chart from Goldman Sachs I shared over on X or Twitter if you want to follow the links. You can see here that we're crushed all the way back down to a pretty significant low in terms of volatility. And I also shared this VIX chart here. We'll look at this a little bit more later on. The VIX is now back into the 1245. Now, we had a 12 read alert on this for quite a long time, and it is almost there. So not only are we at an all-time low over the last 3 years, but we are also at almost that 12 level. Now, historically, the VIX can stay low for a long time, but this is coupled with a few other things that are quite interesting, everybody. And of course, what those are has to do with retail sentiment. Yes, some reports coming in on our weekend video that were really showing some strange stuff. We'll also talk about smart money versus dumb money in just a moment as well. Let's give a shout out to the people that were here early. We've got the product detective says, "G'day, Tom. Setting the notifications, and I can't wait for tonight's stream. Great to have you here, product." We've got Nuno as well saying, "G'day, greetings from Portugal." Thank you very much, Nuno. Appreciate that. Love to visit Portugal one day. And then we got JS Nam says, "Hello, world." Hey, man. We've got Garth, DB, Anthony, Michelle, Chris, and many others coming in. Let's see what everybody thought about I love the golds. Yeah, you're not wrong, Hot Potato. We'll talk about gold. Gold doing very well today. One of our favorites actually recently in the channel, which is really, really good here. Davel says, Dovel says, "Good morning from Florida. I enjoyed my time in Florida. That was good. That was excellent." And Kevin says, "My Thanksgiving was weeks ago." Well, there you go. And JSNM says, "I like the KFC, the stuffing, the green bean casserole. Sounds good." And yeah, hi from South Africa. I like what's it, Boerewors sausage and biltong. It's good. And Dr. Horton, good to have you here as well. Yeah, they are delicious. I love the Boerewors sausage. I think there's a competition every year or something. If you've never tried one, you definitely got to check it out. And there's a competition I've heard over there where they all make sausages, and then whoever wins is like they get to mass produce their sausage or something. I don't know. It sounds kind of funny. It's kind of cool. So I put up this tweet or whatever we call it nowadays. And basically it shows you here smart money confidence versus dumb money confidence. Now, smart money is obviously dropping off. It's not unusual. You get a rally like this, you're always going to see these types of indicators show you a kind of big sell-off in terms of people just like not really feeling it from the smart money side. That kind of shows you that there is probably some selling going on. But where the more interesting component was this one here, which shows you that bullish sentiment really getting into the top end bracket. Now, why is this important? It's not that it necessarily has to stop. So if we actually line this up, and I'm in the production of actually getting an indicator made that's a little bit better than this. So in my opinion, of course, my opinion, but users, I know actually what it'll be using. So that'd be kind of cool. But anyway, look, stay tuned for that one. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. But you can see here that we actually stayed high and elevated for a while. Now, this was the breakout that happened at that 42 kind of 50, 4200 zone all the way back at the start of the year. But there are also other periods of time where, I'm drawing a really bad line there. You can see, again, it can rally for a little period, but there are periods of time where it's just the end of it, where it's just kind of the end of it, and it's all over, Red Rover. Anyway, in this case, we are into that 0.7 territory. So it does show us another sign of potentially being in that type of toppy area. One of the other shares I put through, which was sentiment driven, was, of course, here you can see 23.6, one of the worst bear readings. And I noticed in JP Morgan's report that I was reading this weekend, and it actually made a big mention of this. Not so much this survey, but it did make a mention of retail traders kind of being, feeling a little bit too hot about everything. Obviously, 42%, 43%, 45% bullish versus the bearish components. So we've got smart money kind of saying no, potentially. We've got dumb money, that's us. we're YOLO. Okay, we're YOLOing into the market. We've got us all believing that it's 3 weeks of green, all good. And every single person I've ever spoken to at the moment says that it's going to be a green Christmas. Okay. So only a few weeks ago, you wind back the clock 3 weeks ago, everybody said the end of the world was coming, and now all of a sudden it's a great Christmas and nothing can there can be no wrong in the markets, guys. So that's just how fast sentiment can shift in the age of AI and internet robots, divulging us all of the information. So let's jump on over to the charts and take a look at some of the key things that we always want to be looking at when it comes to markets. And I'm going to wipe a few things off here. I think first and foremost, we cannot be sure that the S&P 500 has weakened yet. Now, do notice that today the Russell 2000 is coming in a little bit more weaker. And actually, interestingly enough, we're still not at the end of November yet. So it's actually December that tends to bring a little bit of selling also with it, which can happen. Now, remember, the rally at the end of November is relatively legendary, but it's the December component that's going to be interesting here. And there are some stats in today's close video that I'll bring up, and I'll present them with some other information that I'm going to put together by the end of the close, where we'll talk about what is more likely than not to happen through that first part of December. But in general, if I was drawing a general chart of a pre-election year, it goes like this. December hits, and then it has a dip, which usually happens somewhere between that 7th to 10th kind of level. Also, the first, historically a bad day for markets, 1st of December. I'll put a stat out on that. I think it's 33% positive or something over 20 years, which is kind of weird. And then you get that round of rally into the end of the year. At least that's the historical kind of component. Now, this dip looks big, but realistically, it's not usually a huge dip. So the rally into the end of the year is at this stage intact. We obviously have a series of higher highs and higher lows. We currently have a bullish market. We currently have a bullish close, and we're looking for the signs of weakness. Let's go over to the chat and see what you guys think. And Carol says here, correct, Borwas and biltong. That's right. They're good. I like the spicy biltong. That was damn good. Man, when my South African friend introduced me to that, I was like, damn, that's a game changer. I couldn't eat Jack Links. Never again. Never again for the Jack Links. Sorry to everyone that likes the Jack Links. It just doesn't come close to that sweet biltong. Evening from Bris Vegas. Good to have you here, Will and Gabba. Early December, historically weak. Yeah, you get that kind of middling effect. So I guess through that start into the weakness, and then you kind of bottom off usually around that kind of 15th, so about 13th, 15th of December, and then you tend to run and rally through there. Now, funnily enough, that's where the US 2000, the Russell 2000 tends to rally best. And I was talking in our normal Monday macro show that I run, as part of our private Masters kind of thing, Masters Club. I was basically talking about this fact, and I'll share it here as well, that we haven't really seen, of course, the rise of the mid caps yet. Now, mid caps are undervalued in comparison to some of the other caps as well. So when you're thinking about it, you're really going to be looking for that mid cap and small cap action that could come in around that time. Now, it makes sense, especially if we keep seeing yields go down. So some things I'm watching. These are the top charts. I'm going to get some animations that I'm going to put over for the live shows as well. And also thank you for everyone that's joining us here so early in the morning. If you can, smash the thumbs up button. It does help us out because I do know I've pushed this show quite a few time zones in front. So yeah, we're not quite on the open anymore. But if you do attend, thank you very much. Always appreciated. All right, let's go through some of the things that I'm watching. Of course, US 2-year, very important. We definitely want to have our alert set underneath 4.8%. If it does go underneath 4.8%, I think that's going to be very activation for mid caps, small caps, etc. That's really going to cement a lot of these shifts in narrative for, of course, rate cut expectations. You will also want to have things like your trend lines involved here. Although I don't think this is a super trend line, you can see that it is through 2 points now. And of course, this will be, an area I think some people will have on their charts. US 10, 20, and 30 year will also be worthwhile watching. And what you're really looking for here is historically above 4.7. That's going to be a big problem if you are a bull in markets. That's going to be a huge issue. So you don't want it above there under pretty much any circumstance if possible. And you just want it kind of to stay here. Of course, also set an alert for the low, which I'll do right now. Again, US 10 year has some correlations with a few markets, particularly oil, particularly sometimes like even the biotech industry as well, which will be good there. We will go through a few single stocks very soon, so that'll be good. And Braden says 1 day of no trading and half a day would have had a bit of an effect. Homemade biltong is the best. Oh, I haven't tried that. All right, some other things I'm watching. US dollar. Okay, so obviously we know this is often considered a hedge against uncertainty. We're watching two things here. It's going to be the US dollar from both the bullish and the bearish standpoint. We have to expect that if yields are dropping off, so the yields are going down, we kind of expect the US dollar to keep weakening because, of course, that means rate cut expectations, less desirable to own the dollar, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Move out of what's been a pretty good cash earner for a while, move into some of the risk on assets, emerging markets, et cetera, et cetera, if the recovery is real and if the recovery is going to keep spreading. Now, one thing you're watching for, again, bears will celebrate a 104.50 breakout high. If that happens, well, then you can start to say, wait a second, is the dollar really done yet? Or is it going to actually strengthen a little bit? I suspect it's not going up there, but you can have to expect the unexpected sometimes. The last one that I'll be watching quite closely has to do with rotation. So I've shared this over on our X account as well, actually two things I'll be doing. So the X account as well, and I want to share it. Do remember this one as well, guys. Financial positions loosening. Some good stuff, actually, I've shared over here, if I do say so myself. CTA positioning, I'll be putting out another report on that so you guys can watch it. Now, there is one thing in here that I want to check. Here it is. So, yeah, you're going to be wanting to watch your sectors. So watch things like utilities. We'll check that out later. Staples, defensives like healthcare, gold, energy even. See how it's trading at the moment. These are kind of like the historical rotations that often happen. Not so much energy, but that's been an inflation rotation if things are going to go bad. Remember, if the markets move defensive and you're just kind of like slowly grinding up, once that grind changes and it's been defensive, usually means the pullback might be more significant, which will allow you as a bull or bear to maybe position a little bit better into these markets. So that's something that we are also looking at right now. So we'll go over to this chart again, but now I want to talk about something that I'm really loving at the moment. Can anyone guess? I mean, you guys have big brains. You know exactly what I'm thinking. What do you think was on my mind this weekend when it came to a trading instrument? And I've been a little bit feeling it a little bit recently. And I was like, you know what? I bet you it's going to open pretty good. And it's doing all right in a sea of red today. It's doing all right. What do you think it is? Kevin says Bloomberg Channel are talking about 150 cut on Fed rates next year. Holy cow, I don't think so. Well, look, again, their opinion or anybody's opinion basically doesn't mean too much. A good way of looking at it is obviously you can see the Federal Reserve rates by typing in ZQ, okay? And you can go ZQ minus, I think, 100 is what I do. And yeah, wait a second. Let me give you a forward rate. Again, our opinions mean nothing. What's the market actually doing is the key here. So if we have a look here, 100 minus ZQ. So we can do 100 minus ZQ. What do they say on Twitter? Few know this. A few people do, but you can do this anyway. This is a bonus. So we can scroll through and we can actually figure out what our rate cut expectations are. So what was that from? Kevin says rates are all of next year. Okay, well, let's just go to December of 2024 and let's press enter on that and see what the expectation is. So we're looking at 4.5 at this current rate. So 4.5 is the expectation of that future yield. which is not as much as they're saying. So obviously they're going a little bit above that. But look, that's what the market's pricing in currently. Of course, it's already priced in, so you're not going to get any edge off that chart, but it is an interesting one still being there. JS says ain't going to be that fast. I tend to agree. It would be a cataclysm to really get it that low that quickly. So I just don't think that's going to happen. I am Society 21 says just followed on X. Thanks for the vids. What's your take on Apple? We'll do it very soon. Thank you very much for the response. By the way, the two guys that managed to win the what was it, the coaching session thing with me in the competition we ran. Awesome to see some of you guys. Not only the people that I met in America and everywhere else around the world, but it's just like great. Like we've got, it's interesting the people that watch the channel. It's you're really on it, a lot of you. So I'm impressed, and I've got to say, I just finished up one today, and I was like, it's really impressive to see what you guys think of the channel, what you watch, what value you get from it. And it was also interesting to see here that of quite a few of you really practice some of the concepts like patience, react, don't predict, which really helps you out. And I truly believe it. It's a super duper thing. It's not about having to trade every day. It's about understanding when you have edge, but also just even little things that really change the way I perceive markets, like the abundance mindset stuff I talk about all the time, and why that's so important. Because what it does is it makes you feel no FOMO. And if you can do that in everything in life, if you can do that in pretty much like everyone that's got the wisdom and has done it for a lot longer would know what I mean. But if you can somehow, it's like Black Friday sales. Yeah, I got sucked in by a few of them, to be real. But sometimes you just got to have it. Yeah, the deal's too good. But overall, Black Friday sale on fxevolution.com right now. But yeah, overall, the abundance mindset is I think, a really good thing. And again, I say it like those people on those shows where they're surviving with nothing and they're surviving just pure, they're starving and they survive 50 days and they all have that mindset. And that shows you that there's a powerful understanding in the human psychology from it. And that can be really transferred incredibly well into trading. I have a quote I use in my mentoring stuff, and it's the Wayne Gretzky quote. And I've said it here before. I don't exactly remember the quote off my head, but basically, there's two ways of looking at it. He would say that basically, there's the normal person will just look at where the puck is going, and an amazing player would look at where the puck is going to be in the future. And that's what you got to do with the markets. It's like chess. You've got to think a little bit ahead. So recently, we've been talking about the shiny metal gold, which is the answer. And I've been talking about this. And you'll notice that I have been basically putting it in every single show where I've been saying, I think gold's pretty good. I think gold's pretty good. I think gold's pretty good. Now, it's not that, that just means go and buy it or anything like that. I'm not soliciting that. I'm just saying that there is a valid reason why gold could be pushing to a higher point. And it's actually been pretty damned good in technicality. Now, of course, we hoped that 1920 would be reached, but we suspected once we got through this zone here that we'll going back up and long. And this was just a very unique situation where one of the most hated metals for a long time, one of the most pushed down metals, was doing much better. And it could actually break to an all-time high. Again, I've said this a few times. I'm not sure exactly on timing, but to me, gold has been suppressed for quite a while, and it's probably due its time. And I also noticed that a lot of people are really hating on it. Like, I mean, really hating on it. So recently, when it was down here, a lot of people had calls that were 1,500 for gold. Have you noticed that? Has everyone else noticed that people are really negative on gold and it's been blitzing them? I don't know. For the first time in a while, I saw people really hating on gold around this area here, and particularly here. So there you go. Braden says, I noticed that China gold keeps pushing higher on the China Opens. It does trade better around the Asian session, actually. It trades quite well in the Asian session, the London session, and even the New York session. But it gets a lot of liquidity. It's actually one of the most traded pairs in a lot of CFD brokers, if you didn't know. Okay, Chaz says, if IWM doesn't, this is probably a good one here. I just read the start. But if IWM doesn't start outperforming fast, rocketing this week, the bull market is over. I don't know if it has to rocket this week, but you do need to see rotation. That is correct. Okay, Chaz. And if you don't get rotation and it's just the 7 stocks rallying up and there's nothing behind it, yeah, it's fake. It's fake. So there you go. Danism says, not negative on gold, but I never really believed in the silver breakout bulls. Yeah, I've got to just say here, look, you have to look at silver on a chart to understand it. Let me see if this one here will have enough. I probably should use like a silver futures code. Let's see if this one has the full history of silver. Silver is the worst thing, seriously. So you can see here back in that 70s and 80s, it had that massive breakout up into the 48s. Then it broke again to the 48s back in 2011. And then, of course, there was all that silver squeeze stuff that went on around here. And look, I thought it was possible for it to do it back then, like to get through it. One day, silver will break the bank and it will eventually get through this area. But if it does, remember, if it gets past 30, that is a monumental time. 30 to 35, 35 to 45 to 50. Like it's pretty much here to here and then here to like literally up here. And that's going to be, I think it'll happen this decade. It'll be very interesting to see if it does. Now, it has been horrendous. It has crazy spread. It has horrible holds. Like silver has a lot of drawbacks, but it's been suppressed for quite a long time. I question about gold is not actually dumb since there are numerous gold funds and specific stocks. Oh no, I'm not saying it's dumb. Gold is pretty legit. It's just that it's been suppressed for a long time with all of the paper on it. Well, at least that's my opinion anyway. We'll see about that. Anyway, the Bering Sea gold rush or whatever it is. Those shows still can't even get it up. 150 cut, no way. Gold, yes, you were right. Correct. Hello, hello, hello. A lot of people coming through. All right, so let's go through some other things. US 2000, of course, the weak market, the one that we didn't like at 1800, and it's still underneath it somehow. So let's have a look here. So this is very coily, isn't it? It's making almost like a symmetrical, like a pennant off a big thing. Now, generally speaking, well, if we drew it properly, it'd be like that and that. Generally speaking, you want these things to break out about a third of the way through left. Now, it didn't. So I wouldn't really class it as a pattern, in my opinion. A lot of people will draw it that way, but I wouldn't class it as that. Of course, the downward trend line component is probably the better read. And you want to look more at this horizontal level. So that's 17. What's this price here? 1780. I'm going to set an alert under that because you want that type of alert. I often just wipe alerts so you guys can see where I'm putting stuff. And of course, I want to see if it breaks out of here because it could keep squeezing up. So the US 2000 is going to be interesting. It's trapped in a range at this stage. Break and close will be the key probably on it this week. If I had to guess, it does look weak, of course, because of some of the action that's happened. But yeah, when I say weak, it's just more that I want it to fill what is a fairly low liquidity kind of position. This is a very low liquidity kind of position over here on the left-hand side. So it all happened through that CPI, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to get a lower point that would then drive into the bottom of that trend line, which we know is pretty good. We've got demand there. This would be a pretty sweet level to see it go back long. So that's going to be a big one there. Couldn't you say the higher lows into resistance? Yeah, it is higher lows. So, what you're going to say there is this resistance across ascending channel. Ascending triangle. But ascending triangle is not actually it's a pattern that a lot of people think actually breaks up. Funnily enough, the breakdowns against the channel or the triangle in this case, actually stronger trade. They tend to be more aggressive and more crazy because so many people are looking at that way. For me, look, there is a setup here toward the short that is statistical. It's sat for quite a while. It really shouldn't sit that long, but we'll find out. I mean, it's not exactly a 9 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10 type of trade. Now, let's have a look at this Bitcoin. This thing is up, down, up, down, up, down. Now, it did break out here on the weekend. So we actually saw a breakout into just after Thanksgiving. This must have been the day that somebody told all of their family members that they were going to become crypto millionaires again. And then it bailed and failed to get above. So no daily close above 38K still. Still in an upward trend for now. This could be a UT. So, of course, in Wyckoff, this could be kind of the beginning of the end for it. But we don't know that yet. It's too early to tell. It's just got the could be, but we don't know. So trend is still up, still bullish. Long leg doji, obviously at the high here with the weekly close. And we kind of keep getting these random just wick kind of buys. It's dull. It's a scary market to short against. I don't know if I'd do it personally, but yeah, that's the kind of thing. Now, it's well known to do these types of things. You can see here these candles, similar time candles over here, potentially. These types of candles, and we still pushed higher for a little bit. And then, of course, we collapsed. That's the type of thing. These are just what I would call dull market positions. And sometimes it can explode out of these positions. So I think with the crypto world, I'd be a bit scared about that. What about Dr. Copper? Sure, still feeling good on the copper side. Now, copper, of course, has had a couple of bad sessions on it. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sessions, a little bit weaker, but it's still in that upward trend that we kind of called or talked about down here. And for now, it's making a series of higher highs and higher lows. So there you go. That's going to be a big thing here. JS Nam says, I can sense thousands of people's agonies in the BTC's charts. Yeah. Well, let's look. I mean, the real thing is here, we've got almost 600 of you joining us so early in the morning in the US. Welcome, welcome. And if you do want to watch this, by the way, I do unlist them after we run the live stream. Of course, you can be a member, but I also post it into our Discord as well, so you can just watch it underneath. There are a few reasons why I have to unlist it. It's just YouTube stuff. But anyway, that's. I might leave it up today. We'll see how we go. Where do you see support on natural gas? Natural gas is a very scary trade. But yeah, Dr. Copper still remaining the bullish side for now. Alan says here, my list of gold categories include gold, which is Barrick, GDX, which is a sector, FNV, GLD, which I think spot, and then SA. So when you're talking about gold, are you talking about the ticker gold? I'm talking about, so the ticker gold, which is the CFD, I'd be talking about GC futures. So yeah, in the US, just remember, you've got GC, which is the futures code for the US. In everywhere else in the world, most people will be trading CFDs. So they'll be trading some kind of CFD spot, okay? Doesn't exist in the US because it got banned back in 2010, I think it was. Man, it was awesome it was so cool back then. Now I think back on it, when everyone from the US was also in the FX world. That was sweet. It's such a shame FX got shreked with the amount of cutback they did in terms of margin. Yeah, I remember back then. It was a good time. 2010, I think it was, or 11, somewhere out there. Maybe it was 12. But the time before that was awesome in terms of everybody. I still remember the first QEs and the big QEs in 2008 and 9, and it was just insane. The currency moves were so wild. And we were trading currency and stocks. And I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like the GFC. I mean, the 2020 crash was big. That was certainly wild. Well, the crash in 22 was nothing. But the madness that happened in the GFC was wild. Anyone here trade the GFC? Let me know in the chat. That was a wild time. US oil, let's move over. It was actually terrifying too at the same time. Everyone thought everything was going to end. It was like 2020, except more for longer and scarier in some ways. Weekly over here, we have, just because it was longer, that's why it's scarier. US oil 74.55. Then we get here to the daily, still on the downward trend. So we've obviously got the low, the high, lower high, the lower low, the comeback, and this is basically a test of the supply. Funnily enough, I left the most traded zone number 1 on there for a reason, but we got that big rejection and then it just kind of slapped down. So I remain still neutralized on US oil. I don't really know what it's doing. I'll be real. Like this area, it is in a downtrend, so you can't deny. If you're in downtrend, it's in downtrend. But this is an area where I wouldn't be surprised to see some structural creation. So I'm still kind of neutral on it. Jeff Kakara says, Jeffrey from Jersey, great info, learning a lot. Oh, thank you, Jeff. And Alan says, thank you very much for addressing my question. Looks like I need to do a little bit more research. Just look up CFDs, contract for difference versus futures. And generally speaking, you'll actually want to look at futures. We really should do more futures on the show rather than CFDs, because you can go to like gold futures and you can actually look at future contract delivery dates. So you'll see the prices are all different as well. But I like spots pretty good. TK Greyback says, damn, I'm late today. Have we spoken about Intel? Lol, lol, almost up 80%. I tell you what, we'll do it. We also have to do Apple first. So let's do Apple first. TK Greyback is like the mad Intel scientist. I feel like you've been sitting on that thing since we spoke about it at 20 something. Was it 20 something or 20 something? Then it went up to like 40. Then it went down to the 35s. And then you just sat there and went even more crazy on it. Hey, I've got no shame in saying the $40 was the target for me. That was all good, all green, all good. Goodbye. Okay, I'm not in details anymore. Anyway, we'll look at it soon. So, what is my opinion on Apple? Well, see, this is the opinion. The reason I want to say this is I'm going to get a chart. Actually, is there a Mag7 code other than just bring them all together? I guess we could just bring them together. Let's add them together. Well, first up, Apple. Let's just look at Apple. So you can see here, it's kind of weak looking. I mean, realistically, we've filled in this gap. It's got this little weird shorting kind of thing going on. That's usually actually a bit of a negative candle pattern, to be real. And it's not exactly filling me with the confidence with the weekly close. And this is often the barometer of stocks. The market really can't be rallying through on Mag 7 stocks because Mag 7 stocks are half of them are either new highs or right on these resistances. So Apple, number one, it's had its best time in the sun, which tends to be October. November, it's not bad as well. And then December is pretty bad. Amazon, it's past Black Friday, technically. Cyber Monday, I'm sure it'll all come in as records, but often it does sell the fact and buy the rumor, which it tends to be doing. Google's another one that's back in those highs as well. These weeklies you can see here, right into those highs. So again, at a resistance. Microsoft's off in its own delusional world. I mean, obviously, I love this stock so much. Big moat. But that doesn't matter. Just because I like it and it's going well doesn't mean it's actually at a good price. It totally isn't. And then you got Nvidia, which is also shaping up to be that buy the rumor, sell the fact. So wait a second, let's just kind of think about this. We've got Google here for a second. That's a kind of res. Would we agree? Chat, do you agree? We're going to Google res. We're going to go Google with res. By the way, if you can smash that like button, please do it, guys. It does help out. So Google is at res. AAPL is it res or some kind of weirdness. Nvidia is it, we're going to call it buy the rumor, sell the fact. Not that I really endorse selling a semiconductor stock. I think that's just terrifying. Microsoft is in La La Land. That's La La. So we're in La La Land there. And then Meta, we'll have a look at it in a second. So is there really, I mean, let's see what you think, chat. I'm going to read your comments here. Apple has yet to start selling their cars. Yeah, that'll be the Apple car. Is that even oh man, the Apple car. Jeez. The Apple car rumor, which is probably 6 years old by now, was traded so hard as a concept in 2020, then 21, and then we forgot about it. But it's true, the Apple car. So seems like got Red Day coming in here for a blind spot. Seems like Red Day. Well, red futures at the moment, sure. Look, it's a bit of a guess at these highs. I've already told you. I think US 2000 is the only one that's weak looking kind of chart, and that's been for a few days now. Looks like rotation away from Mag 7 possibly. Yeah, I think that's probably the way you have to think of it if you're going to still play the dull market, because Meta as well 338. You look at this on a chart and you say, well, wait a second, we're getting into the territory of this supply structure over here as well. So again, another one that, yes, it's broken out, but it's in the supply structure. So they look a bit extended. The Mag 7 is an extended horror show network in terms of what's going on. So we really need to see the rest of the market start to strengthen. And that's exactly what happened last week. So if we go to equal weight, we talked about this already last week. We didn't see superior outperformance of the mid caps, but we did see a grind higher by mid caps. This is equal weighted market, but you can see if the equal weighted market's coming up, what's that mean? It means breadth is improving. And as somebody said before, this is going to be incredibly important to the market. So we've got a dull, slight breadth improving market that's very hard to short right now. And on the other side, The bear side, we have crazy people sentiment, which is just bull, 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 bull. Everything's green. We have a seasonal period that's coming up that tends to be a little bit weaker. Okay, fair enough, until we get stronger. So the pullback, it's going to happen. You kind of think in those next 15 days, traditionally. Of course, that's just stats. We'll talk about the stats at the end of the day when I do the close show for the Monday session. And then, of course, we have a VIX that is being crushed across the board. Now, where things get interesting is when we look at the VVIX. Okay, so the volatility of the volatility. I mean, what is with 2023? We're in the weirdest we're in the weirdest time ever when we have to be looking at the volatility of the volatility now, and you'll see some other things we'll check out later. Now, this will be actually part of a rundown that I do for the first newsletter, free VIP newsletter. Jump on over to fxevolution.com in the links down below if you're interested in joining that, by the way. I'll be putting it out tomorrow, which will be sometime probably later in the late night for the US, I would say. And yeah, I'm going to be talking about volatility crush because basically we got the volatility crush. The VVIX though is not on the lowest low. So there's a bit of divergence here. We've got the VIX lowest low. We've got the volatility of the VIX kind of coming on up. And then we have the move index, which is obviously the bonds. And the move index has been getting crushed as well. So we're having to look at these differential spreads, these spreads between different volatility market readings. And what we're seeing is underneath the hood, the market is almost pricing in perfection. So the market's basically saying, hey, there's no problems, guys. We're going to make no volatility. We're going to make puts, relatively speaking, cheap, and no one's going to buy them soon. So that's because we crushed them all over the last 2 weeks. So basically, we're at a point here where we are literally starting to see volatility pricing in a perfection market with almost no pullbacks in it. And that's the type of thing that we've seen that gets a bit dangerous in the past. Yes, that's right. Nice, Matt. That's correct. Don't worry, I'm putting it in the video. It's okay. So he says that 2 to 3. So basically, Cyber Monday has a 213 record. So down 0.57 on average. That is correct. 213 record in similar circumstances. So what that means is that a run into Thanksgiving, the way Thanksgiving played out, and then basically today would have a 2/13 run. So again, that's actually pretty bad considering the market is usually bullish. Yes. What are the strongest months for gold historically? Jan. Smash the like button. Appreciate it, Prime Profits. Very good. Zomba says here's the commercial real estate Kilroy KRC seems real undervalued. Or I don't like to think about commercial real estate or real estate stocks. I do talk about home builders, but traditionally, this is actually the one sector of the market. I'll just be real. Is the one sector of the market, and I don't know if you guys agree, that I stay away from. I have a rule, and it's this. I don't trade REITs. Yeah. What do you guys think? I just can't do it to myself. You know why? If you know something about commercial real estate in particular, somebody back me up here. When it comes to valuing commercial properties, they just do it kind of when they feel like it. Sometimes they do it once a year. And it's not usually the correct value. It's like valued off the last one. Now, if there's been not much sale of comparable properties, and of course it depends in the world, but it's a world of gray market. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea what their real book's worth. I can't figure it out and I get confused. And you can actually see it in the charts here as well. This is the type of thing that happens during bad times. I'm surprised it even recovered. A lot of them don't. But yeah, I don't know. I just have the rule. The rule is there. Now, technicals are technicals, so you can do whatever you want. Of course, you can look at your own things. But in general, if I was looking at this chart, I wouldn't hate it at this price. Airlines suck. Yeah, airlines freak me out. You know why I don't like airlines? It's purely this. If one of them drops out of the sky, your airline drops 30% the next day, minimum. And that just like, I could never have proper money in it. Yep, no one believes in real estate, so it would outperform. No, I like whoa, 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 TK. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I believe in real estate, but I just don't believe in this is different type of real estate. Okay. This is the online version of live. This is the real estate on the stock market. Okay. We're not talking about like someone's house or something. I believe that inflation inherently is good for housing because what happens is it makes the house worth more. Okay. The land kind of sits stagnant, but the house becomes more expensive. So of course it's going to go up. Do you trade biotech? Don't trade biotech, but I do look at biotech. Yes. We'll have to do Intel in a second for our good friend over there, but we'll do IBB, just have a look at it. Now, I've been talking about bio. I actually think bio is pretty strong for a rotation, but it is going to need yields to come down. So we need the yields down, yields down. Chris says here on local radio, this is Australia, 1/5 of shops are untenanted, but they don't want to drop rent to affect values. That is correct. It generally has there. Kevin says Tom has to believe in real estate because he's from the land of overvaluation. Yeah. Wow. See, I always say this. I thought Australia was expensive in property, and then I went to China. And then I saw 52x times earnings. 52x. So if you give you an example, in Australia, you're probably looking at about 12 to 14 times the average, pre-tax wage for the average crappy house. Now in America, it'd probably be about 10, 8 to 13, depending on where you are. Obviously, New York City and some places, Cali are more expensive. So this is by the average wage in that particular area. Now in China, 52 times. 52. Holy moly. Nothing is more crazy than that. Well, I'm sure there is. The most crazy story is Japan in the 1980s slash early 90s. Look it up. Look at the valuation of the Emperor's Castle. Oh my God. It's so wild. It's so wild. All right, let's keep going through a couple of stocks here. So we'll do Intel first. I just can't believe that thing still exists. So Intel crushing 43.81, hitting into a bit of supply. So obviously another target level hit. Next target level, if you were to continue long. Oh, it's going to be tough. It's actually going to be somewhere. Yeah, this is a good target level, actually. Got that 44. You've got that monster support from previous. You've rallied through. You've dumped it off there as well. So that's supply. So it's a pretty key level for TP. Next level is probably somewhere in here. I guess I have it for a reason. 52.06. Montreal, Canada's 20x. Yeah, some parts of Sydney are, of course, as well. US 1.6 million for a hole in the wall in China is overvalued. US, when I was there, it was US 10 million for, I didn't even know what it was. It was a house, but not a house you want to live in. not a house you want to live in, believe me. But $10 million, and that was back in 16. 52 times earnings, jeez. Since 1955, the 10-year, 2-year inversion has preceded the US recession, except for one false positive. From the history we have, I think there's actually more. Well, kind of, Steve. So there are actually a few bad reads in there where you saw like a US 10-year, 2-year inversion, uninversion, no recession, back to inversion, then you got recession after. Yeah. So it still preceded it, but it's all that weird stuff that happens in the 70s, I'm pretty sure. Regardless of that, there is also there are quite a few. I've shared so many charts on it, but really, if you're wondering when you should be terrified, generally with markets, don't be terrified before the cut, but be terrified when they cut. So when they do the cut, that's when you actually want to be terrified. Just before they do the cut and when they do the cut, remember, central bankers do not cut interest rates just because they're like, hey, bro, I love you. You're cool, man. They're like, no, we broke something. Whoops. Oh, don't tell anyone. Don't tell anybody what we did. That's what they do. 700 people joining us. Thank you very much. We've talked about quite a few things here. And obviously, we've gone through our thoughts on the US 2000 being the weakest, the thoughts of the melt up on both of these other two majors, and of course, gold as well. Gold looking poised to go for, a 2025 this week and maybe even higher. We'll see whether we can get it done. Dollar index one to watch, as we said. Bitcoin, well, we sort of talked about that as well. Magnificent Seven look absolutely horrendous. Treasuries is just going to come down to yields and what yields are doing. So if yields drop off, obviously treasuries will run. And then, of course, we've got the other markets out there. Now, a lot of people are speculating that CRM is going to do really well off everything that's going on with the OpenAI drama. I'm even on top of that stuff, but that's going to be interesting. GDX or gold still looking strong, up another 1.43% here for gold stocks across the board. Semiconductors look a little bit stretched, obviously struggling at these new highs. So that's, again, another segment that's getting knocked out of the market at the moment. So really, you've got the Mag 7 a little bit overvalued or too high anyway, a little bit exhausted. You've got semiconductors potentially a little bit exhausted. So really, for the market to keep driving, it's going to need mid caps. It's going to need small caps. Yeah. All right, let's take a couple of your expectations in terms of what stocks you're looking at right now. I saw a few people mentioning utilities before. Yeah, utilities has an okay period of time in it at this stage, and it's slowly driving up. Looks like kind of wants to break out higher. So see whether utilities, I mean, it's mostly a defensive sector, but it's doing okay. And you also got staples here, finding some strength into that pre kind of Christmas. Kevin says, I bought Shop a week ago. Oh, yeah. Shop, not Shopee, Shopify. Shopify. Well, a week ago is not too bad. Obviously, breaking out again here. Probably going for it this time as well. This is a very key supply, which you can see has already affected the market once. But this rally off the earnings is pushing this one through. Yeah, it may keep going. It's at that TP that you would usually use it on. Let's go to AMD. We've got Permit Fisher asking for Beam. Man, I haven't seen that code in a while. CRISPR style stock. Biohacking, effectively. All right, let's go over here. AMD. AMD is driving higher, I guess. It's just a dull looking thing. It just looks like it keeps going up. Bull Bear says, good morning. Isn't it crazy the Mag 7 is still being bought up at these valuations going into rate cuts? Yeah, well, it's normal. You see Gamma go first. That's often how it is. And then I just don't think you're going to see outperformance of them to the mids. I know a lot of people are talking smalls. I feel like mids is maybe where the action is. Yeah. The Mag 7 is interesting. I will do a chart on it at the end of today's show. Take a look at PG. Yeah, we've got PG in the watch here. So PG, Procter, still looking relatively good on a chart towards the long. Obviously reversing last week a lot of the action that came from this bearish kind of candle. And it's looking okay. All right, let's look at Beam here. Beam, once one of the most popular therapeutic stocks, got thrashed for quite a while. But like a lot of bios, they are quite low. I mean, now the reason why these are low is they don't make money. I mean, I've never even looked at Beam's money, like their spreadsheet, but I can just tell you it probably makes no money and it probably burns tons of capital. Now, this actually is a significant shift of trend. And we've also got that break of that downward trend line, which you can see came through. So, yeah, Beam, CRISPR, a lot of these therapeutic drug kind of biotechs, they've been doing pretty well recently. Really strong post earnings. So that's why we always say patients react, don't predict. This candle here is a massive trigger. And then it's just been ballistic since then. You might think that's not much, but that's actually 50%. Increase. And this actual candle itself was probably 10% plus off itself. So yeah, some big moves there. Please take a look at SoFi. Sure, we will do. Let's have a look at SoFi. Last time we looked at SoFi, now I haven't looked at it again, so let's have a look what it's doing. It's still sitting at the same price. Okay. So basically not the best, but now we can set alerts above here. So we want this to happen. This would be good. And if we can get above 760, I think that would be strong. Again, I'm not going to, I like the level. Okay. I've never said I don't like the level. I like the level. I would have liked it through here before. The level is solid. But yeah, we need to see it like now because it took this low. I want to see it go through this zone. That'll be strong. All right. What are some other ones here? What are your thoughts on VFS? VFS. Okay, let's check it out. VinFast Auto. Oh. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, that's low. Probably not for me. It's not old enough. No. No. What is this? It's a SPAC, I guess. Yeah. Can't be loving that one. VFS is a scam, by the way. Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm not going to say it is because I don't know if it is or not, but wow. Hey, do I like that? No. In terms of the chart. That was scary. That's a that gave me flashbacks to the 2021 like reverse short everything. Right. What were some of those other ones you guys had? Rajiv says, "Hi Tom, I'm planning to add more stocks on ST&E. Do you think pullbacks levels to 20 DMA, so daily moving average, 20? I also want to enter NU Bank. Yeah, 20. The mean reversion is often a good little time for you to have a look at markets. Let's have a look at this AG, and then maybe we'll load up NU quickly. AG looks pretty good. This is a silver, so First Majestic. So I actually have an alert above this, which I've been looking at. So this stock I've already, obviously analyzed. So yeah, I'm still looking for this, and yeah, it's a decent silver stock at that price. And obviously, it's super down on where it has been. You can see it's trading horribly, just like a lot of these silver stocks have been recently. So strong week, pretty decent. And it's about to reverse some serious stuff. So we'll see whether it can do that. Algos have deep pockets, yeah. NU Holdings, let's have a look. NU has also not got a huge amount of history with it, so that's a bit sad. Can't comment on it, but it's followed my normal rule of IPO. Comes out, sell day one to the first week, get the hell out, run away for 12 to 18 months, come back, find base, look for it. Yeah, that would be pretty general. And that's what we usually say. And anyone that's been watching since 2020, because that's when we started live streaming, if I remember rightly, you would know that's exactly what we've always said. Yeah. We don't like the IPO. We like 12 to 18 months later. That's what we like. We like 12 to 18 months later. Can I review Dominion? Oh, can we check Zoom? We'll check out Zoom. Let's have a look at Zoom. We like looking at Zoom just because I looked at this the other day and I didn't hate what I saw. You can see I've got some analysis on it. So Zoom is a weird stock because basically I think the moat for this stock is very low, meaning that probably any of us could code part of their software. You can see here that the company was big and then the company was, all the way back down again. But the price action actually started to go underneath the IPO price. So you can see here, there's the IPO, and we went underneath that price the other day. So that's actually significant. And a few people had alerts on it. And I don't hate what I see. So I actually liked it a few sessions ago around this area and here. You can see I've kind of done some analysis up in here as well. So I think that, this low, if it's going to hold, it holds. You can see the earnings was really the catalyst for what could be a positive turn. So yeah, it's an interesting point for a pretty crappy stock, but it's been doing things here. Sean Hall says, "Can you look at Zoom? I have been in it before earnings, and it had a crazy daily candle on earnings day." Yeah, I see it. I agree. End phase. We'll click on end phase just because I have spoken about how I think it's possibly bottomed off. I'm not really changing that scenario at this stage. Beautiful island reversal. Really horrific time for end phase if you look at it on a chart. And it's got, pullbacks I think would be met by bull demand. I'm looking for it into that 118 category, 120, something like that. Boyle. Yeah. Why is everyone on natural gas? What the hell is going on with natural gas? Why is everybody want to trade this trash? I'm sorry. It's just okay. Look, I mean, I feel like I say it every week. I just want to save you your money. Boyle is a massive amount of futures contracts. If you hold Boyle for a long time, this is what happens to your account. It goes from this amount, which is $711,498 to $38. Okay. So just remember, Boyle is not what you think it is. Look up fact sheet, Boyle fact sheet. Please save yourself. Also, natural gas. It's called the Widowmaker for a reason, guys, because it's nasty. that's my answer. It's nasty. Look, what do I think about natural gas? It's probably coming down to a point where you could see some buyers come back into it. You're back into the structure, et cetera, et cetera. Not the best, that's going lower highs. But you know what? I still don't care because it just trashes on so many people. And I just want you to know that. It's because winter is coming. It's not the narrative that you should be looking at. That's the obvious narrative. That's like saying, I should buy Amazon because Christmas is coming and therefore they're going to make money because people are going to buy presents. Do you think that works? What do you think, chat? 800 of you here. What do you think? Does that work? I did that once. And I didn't do it again. It didn't work. So yeah, in general, you don't try to do that stuff. Fox says, don't trust NG. Yeah, natural gas is the widowmaker. It burns you. The evil futures contracts. Hopefully, I saved your mind, whoever it was. Who posted it? Does it make sense, dude? I had to do it. I had to tell you because I really don't want people to get burnt by that thing. Nasty, nasty. We'll do coin. We'll do Tesla. Let's do coin. So we'll do coin. Now, coin is having a little rally attack. Look at it go. And it's actually got a pretty good technical base. Like if you showed me most of the time, I'd say, look at that. And I'd be like, ooh, okay, nice, beautiful volume. Wyckoff's third law. I like what I see. It's not too bad. It's gone past the 12 to 18 month rule. So, yeah, I think the base is pretty strong. Obviously, as well, if you believe in Bitcoin halving theories, then coin could have a good year on it next year. But yeah, I don't know. I'd rather just own the crypto. That being said, strong candle here. Maybe it's exhausted up on these highs. Like to see it kind of hover back down a bit, build structure. If it broke the structure, then I'd be smiley face. Tesla just dropped prices by 5K across the board here in Canada. What does that tell you? That tells you they're trying to meet the goal targets. And the profit is going to get shrunk quite hard. Or inflation's gone. Can we say that? Look, Tesla's still trapped within two zones. Yeah. So we've got, that Tesla, that stupid Tesla I bought. It's just devaluing by the day. Anyway. Oh, by the way, the suspension and those things. Oh, no. Not the sexy wheels aren't that sexy when you're driving around on a big pothole. I wish they sold the S here. That would be much cooler. Or the X. We just don't get them here in Australia. They don't allow us to drive the premium vehicles. Now, let's move over to this. So we're basically trapped within a range. Most people are probably trading in this range. I would mark probably not the highs. I'd mark like this close here, 242. And I'd mark a close at 232. And say, close out of there could be relatively significant. But for now, it's just like kind of buy, sell until proven otherwise. And that's unfortunately the way you've got to kind of look at it because you can see here, that's the way it's trading. Model Y went from 87K to 64K in the last 1.5 years. Ah, oh, no. So someone lost well over 20 G's just with price cuts. Could have just bought a giant F-250. You probably didn't even, you probably got a price hike, not a price cut on it. Look, you got to realize you buy an electric car. We are in the world of electric car fighting. Okay. BYD, Polestar, some other company, company A, company B, company C, they are technology. It's like saying you buy like an Apple iPhone, you expect to hold value in it a little bit, but every year it's just going to get a new upgrade. Then no one's going to want the old one anymore. And that's way more so. That's why I'm going to reverse. I'm going to reverse and go against the board. I'm going to buy some giant off-road vehicle. There we go. You know why? Because it's that's how it's going to play. Jamal C says, Tom, you're a genius. Price for old models drop. You will be expecting new models coming. Exactly. Anyway, what's this? Tom is buying a monster truck. Yes. I got inspired in America by your giant cars. D-Striped Ape says, Tom, I'm thinking of scaling out of most stocks and just running puts and calls on T triple Q. Thoughts? I think you need to make your own decision on that one, bro. Look, if you think it's time to scale out, like obviously options are their own kind of thing. Look, I'm a big fan of options. I love doing a bit of credit selling. But you have to have fixed risk on your credit selling or understand your risks. If you're just looking at saying buying calls and buying puts and you feel like, that's going to be the better scenario for you, sure. But you have to make your own decision, as you know. We have a weird market. We've talked about the pros and the cons at the start of today's show, and obviously we will talk about it there. TK says, is D-Striped APU going to become a degenerate now? Speaking about the options. Options are not for degenerates, guys. Options are legit. The problem is that it has the option to take too much risk, and they have a bad rap. It's like if you went back to your family on Thanksgiving and they said, "Oh, what are you trading?" You say, "I'm trading options," and there'd be that one person in the family, they'd say, "Oh, you're gambling," and they're like, and you're like, "What?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, no, I've heard about those options things. My broker tells me, or my investment manager says they're risky." Well, actually, they're used for protecting your portfolio and protecting your freaking capital. But at the same time, it's those crazy apes, the crazy apes over on Wall Street Bets. You guys are wild. There's a few people that I remember from AMC GME days, and I've trained a couple, and I was like, oh, I was horrified. Like they were turning like 30K into like 2 mil and then back into negative like 100K. It was full on degen. I said to the person, I said, how was your like psychology during that time? And he said, the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And it was just like this. He reckons it almost killed him. And there's a few people like that. Degenerates made options notoriously popular. Yeah. How do you feel about the dollar index? I think it's at an incredibly good demand zone, so a bit of a buy area here, but I haven't seen the structure that shows buys are coming through. Selling puts and calls, yeah, fair enough. Vegas just woke up. Hey, SS, good to have you here. All right, so in general, there are plenty of good opportunities out there at the moment, guys, in terms of the abundance. We've obviously seen a nice day for gold so far. Maybe that continues through this week. We'll put it in the daily show. Today's stats. This is just a stat. It's not my stat even. It's Wayne's, but 2/13 in terms of 2 bullish, 13 negative in similar situations. So that's a very interesting stat, isn't it? Leading into today, that's what we're seeing. Price structure has shown that the US 2K looks the worst in terms of price structure. We'll see whether that continues on. We said that 2 days ago, though, and it's just done this. It's done nothing. So there you go. Copper, obviously, tends to, we're still seeing it mostly in a rise, might drop off today. Watch the yields. It's going to be an important one this week. Set your alerts. We have that earlier on today's show. We kind of think the Mag 7 looks really extended at this point, and therefore a bit of a problem if the market keeps pushing off that. It's not really a good breadth thing. RSP is showing us there's rotation occurring, and therefore you might want to look at some other sectors. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. As per usual, we'll come out with the close show at the end of Monday close. Thank you very much for all of your well wishes over Thanksgiving. I hope you all had a great time, and we will see you next Monday for another open. I'll leave this show up today. Actually, what do you guys want? You want it left up? I'll leave it up for you today. So if you want to go back and watch it, you can. You can check out some of our areas, some of our lines. Just a quick reminder, because I can shamelessly plug. If you are interested in any of our courses, we do have a new one coming as well, which I think is pretty damn good. And you can check them out at fxevolution.com, or the link in the description. We have a few more hours left on the Black Friday, Cyber Monday, big shopping weekends. And I want to know also, before I leave, what'd you buy over Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale? So I bought, what did I buy? I bought a expensive travel backpack because my friend told me it was worth it. Seems like it's good. And a pepper grinder. True. Anyway, that's what we did. Oh, and some crap electronic stuff. But anyway, that's the thing. What'd you buy? Let me read out a couple here before we finish up. Price action for these right option ETFs keep decaying after each dividend distribution. TK Greyback says, I bought stonks. Fair enough. Woodworking tools, that's cool. Let's see what we need to buy the stocks in. Lego blocks, very cool. An AR10 from Permit Fisher, and an Apple Watch from JS. Ooh. This Jam Lucy says, I didn't buy anything. It's not very consumeristic of you. A monster truck for my son. Very cool, like a Hot Wheel or something. Was that one of those ones they can ride around in? I've seen those at the park. There's like people that ride these kids. They're playing their hip hop music or something in this bloody little car, and they're just like riding it. They're like sunglasses on because it's summer here in Australia. I'm like, what is going on? Labu to Moon. That's obviously biotech. Yeah, I'm liking biotech. Why is everyone on biotech now? That kind of worries me. I guess it's because of the CRISPR stocks. I bought milk this weekend. Fair enough. I also did that. A dope yellow tie. Very cool. All right. And I bought more silver coins. Oh, yeah. I need to get one of those things going on Twitter or X. I remember there's a guy, if you're still around in our community, please send me a picture of your bullion, your Bitcoin bullion. I wanted to make a big thing of it. So remember when you had the Bitcoin bullion? So this guy, back when Bitcoin was like 60K or something like that, and he goes, I'm going to sell it. I said, okay, cool. And he goes, I'm going to buy like bullion. And he just bought like, I think he had like 4 coins or something. He just bought like tons of bullion, and he just stuck it. It had a massive cool picture of it. I love those bullion pictures. The ones with gold and it's like silver, and they've just got them stacked all over the place. I'll get some photos. I'll share them out. They're pretty funny. Did you buy the Peugeot pepper grinder? Chart Junkie, that was the one that I wanted. And then I found out they cheapened it and made it crap like everything else that we buy nowadays. So I end up buying a Man Kitchen. Not promoted. I'm not sponsored by them. And it's really expensive. Anyway, I supported America. American made, American created, American everything. All right, guys. Thanks very much. Ciao for now. Appreciate it. And Spiritualist says, I bought an upgraded subscription for TV to enable deep back testing. I don't know what that is, but there you go. Very cool. All right. Catch everybody. Oh, bye for now. See ya. Did I buy my child, my son anything? He has lots of stuff. He got lots of things. Don't worry about him. He's all good. All right. Catch up. Bye-bye.